Why do you think it's a bit slicker now than it was at the start of the season?
There's been a shift in our mental approach to it, pulling the trigger at the right times, striking faster than what we were. Fordy coming back in, playing flatter since the Six Nations. Fordy's flat at the line, and what we've discovered, and in talking to England, is when you're training against a really high line speed team all the time, through muscle memory, you end up sitting a bit deeper back in the pocket. So ways and methodologies in training to prep for what we were coming up against, not just attacking against our kind of style defence, which worked really well against Exeter. As you saw, being able to, once you got a quick ball, be able to stay on top. And Newcastle have a good line speed as well, so similar, I guess, philosophies in being able to generate quick ball and then being able to stay on top of that. So a myriad of things, really, as it generally is. There's never one overriding thing, but George has been a big influence. I think his attacking prowess post the Six Nations has been markedly improved.
And Rob Dupree, you praised him to the hilt against Leicester, but again at the weekend with that long cut-out pass, he showed how valuable he is to that attacking game. What's he
feeding into Fordy? Because as soon as we've got that bit of momentum, he's that second receiver that allows you, like you saw at the weekend, just to stay on top and to pick the space. So you picked it there, yeah. He's on rich vein of form, isn't he, Rob? So he's the next kind of link in the chain. There's the other elements, like you talk about breakdown and speed of ball and everything else. It starts with your attacking shape and kind of tightening up some of our lines, getting a better depth for intent when we carry it. It all helps to that kind of speed of ball as well. So we've shifted that focus, doing a bit more dojo work. We've got a little padded area, a little padded cell, getting extra sessions in there. Have a real focus for it. The boys are taking a bit more ownership. Tom Curry was speaking today. JL was around the breakdown rather than us putting it on them. They're taking ownership from it. That helps. So there's quite a lot of things that kind of add to the mix, really. That's rewarding. It's encouraging, and makes us less predictable, I guess. Less predictable in the middle third. That Rob's try that he's talking. That came from a turnover. So we striked really fast with 14 men, 40 metres out. Where in the past, 40 men, you probably assume that we'd go back to a kicking game and try and structure them out of it, and we didn't. We pulled the trigger at the right time. And a word on Sam Dugdale, because he was tremendous. Got player of the match, 23 tackles, loads of turnovers. For somebody like him, he's not the most fashionable of names. Obviously, there's always the chat about the Currys, isn't there? And previously John O'Ross and people like that. He sort of slipped under the radar, but you obviously know how good he is. Yeah, I said after the game, I heard a quote. It's not. I think it was some ridiculous series. Good things take a long time. Great things happened all at once, and it's the way of, like, I guess in a wider, let's get existential. When you get into finals and winning cups, that seems to happen all at once. But getting there takes 11 months of the season. With Dougie, Ernst Van Rins, great things happen all at once for us. Like, he comes in, he's a superstar, and he performs like that. With Dougie, he's been working on his craft for years. His weight, his decision making, his physicality in collisions, and all of a sudden you've got a really good player there. And that hasn't come overnight. It's come from his endeavour, his application, and to an extent, the work that coaches have put into him as well. So I think, really, really happy for Dougie, really proud for him. Like you say, he's the first one to automatically think that when all the Currys are back and we've got both Duprees in the field, he's the one that's going to miss out, and that's not the case now. He provides us as that kind of selection headache, which is what he wanted. I bet those were very difficult conversations for you, weren't they? Because whenever he has come in, he's always performed well. Yeah, he has, and he's top of the tackle count, and that was the conversations we had. It's like, because of the physical advantage, genetic advantage that a lot of our back five players have, he's got to be top in the tackle count. He's got to be there in terms of his work rate. He's got to outdo them all. And that's hard for someone who's trying to put on weight and everything else, but he's doing that now. Like, he topped it again at the weekend, so, it puts a bit of pressure on Ben and Tom when he does come back. that internal competition is what you need at this point in the season. You want everyone playing for the shirt, and the shirt has to feel heavy. You know, when you accept that responsibility, there's a weight of expectation that comes with it, and he's matching it. He's stacking up to that challenge. So they're really happy, really proud for him, and for what it matters. His family, like, I've got a good relationship with his mum. She's there in every home game, and she took jobs throughout her life that enabled her son to go to the best schools and get the best coaching. She took jobs at Kirkham and stuff like that. So it's as much her success, her commitment to her son's career that's got him where he is. It's truly like a holistic endeavour that's got him to this point where he's a standout player, and he made that 23 team of the week, didn't he? And we showed that today. So he's getting enough accolades for his endeavours. What we've been trying to do is show him where he can be better still. And there was a couple of penalties in there which were done from him. You know what I mean? He still can be better.
Yeah. You better pick him now. We've been talking about him for so long.
Well, we'll have to wait and see, won't we?
As for the game this weekend, obviously you came into Sale. Steve Diamond moved on, long history with the club. Talk a little bit, I know his son's there in the background, but just talk about what it's going to be like coming up against Steve and Newcastle on the back of what was probably one of his worst days in rugby at the weekend.
Well, let's talk about the Dimes' influence here. It's something that we know we're aware of, but we don't want that to influence our performance or our preparation because of the white noise. You know, it's omnipresent. Like, it's been 3 years since he's been here, but still, he's been managing to affect conversations through the obvious intent that this is the game that they're targeting. You know, thanks for that, actually, Steve, because you've given us some motivation. We've been posting to Sam false teams of who's starting. I think Kuwaito made one of those teams just to see what gets back to him, because no doubt he's going to ring Sam. I won't say no love lost. There's enough there in terms of what we need out of this game to finish the season with some recognition for our efforts. That requires a win, and a good one, as we know, and enough for them to get some pride back into what has been a season where you've got to commend them for how hard they're continuing to battle despite not getting a win yet in the Prem. Yeah. Have I answered your question there?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Can you think of a scenario where you've come up against a team who've been given a real dicking, to quote Craig Doyle, the previous weekend, and then you've gone and played them, and they've pulled your pants down, and does that serve as a motivation to make sure that complacency doesn't creep in this week?
I think the scenarios that you're talking about are myriad in the Premiership this season. Like, how many times have we seen teams turn up, not be quite on it, get their arse handed to us? Happened to us twice. And then you see that kind of reaction, that spike the week after. That's definitely going to be there from them. We expect that. Turning the focus back onto us. What's our expectation? And backing shit up. Like, backing high quality performances up, as we did against Exeter. And it was a good one again at the weekend. So that, bringing the focus back to us. Like, if we want to be this team that's competing, that's getting to playoffs again, then we have to be able to do that. Therein lies the challenge.
The final one from me. Unless I got my maths wrong again, if you get to the final, it'll be your 100th game in the Premiership and Europe since you returned to Sale.
Well, good stats. I won't get any rewards for that. We give the lads a rev up in the meetings because it was readers at the weekend. It's nice, yeah. I don't feel like I've been here for 100 games. It doesn't, like, it still feels very fresh, which is great, innit? But yeah, well, if it is the 100th, and getting to the final will be the 100th, or this game is?
No, the final would be your 100th.
Oh, well, I'm aiming for that then. Let's make the 100th game the most important in my career, which it will be. And the next game is, but that one as a final would be a great achievement, something to aim towards. I'll be aiming towards that, certainly, John.
Nice one. Thank you.
Thanks, mate.
Al, Dan from the Telegraph here.
I know who you are. Dan, I know who you are. Yeah.
I know. Apologies.
It's all right.
The playoffs. You've got Northampton who are leaders, Bath for second. Do you, and I know you're not there yet, but do you still see Saracens as the team to beat?
For us it will be, won't it? It definitely will, because it's more likely to come down to that last game. There's obviously all the teams are in the running, but you've got to look at those consistently, those teams that play consistently, perform consistently well, and Saints are up there, aren't they? Bath, Sarries, all these teams have really good packs, very good tens, and able to win games through different methods. You know, they're different ways. They're able to win it through the forward pack, win it through striking fast, and they've got some of the best, with Pollard and Russell and Farrell, the best game managers in internationally. You know, dangerous teams in many aspects. That's not discounting, you know, with, like I say, Leicester in that respect, because we've got them coming up as well. So, yeah, they're going to be a really difficult team to unpick, even though I spent that longer time there, because you focus too hard on one aspect, they'll kill you in another. Yeah, Sarri's up there.
I guess how much of a premium does their experience in these run-in situations and playoffs, and obviously you got to the final last year, but Northampton and Bath haven't been in this position for quite some time.
Yeah, cohesion's king, as we know. Teams that have played together for a long time, they have experience. Is invaluable. You can only get that experience from going there. Man is a big advocate of that, and once you've got it, it's like in the bank. Because this time in the year, and I've said it last week and I'll say it again, it's about attitude, it's about energy, it's about your mentality over game plan and technicalities, because that's what separates the technicality and the game plan, skill to a degree, separates the wheat from the chaff over the course of the season. But when you come down to these kind of crunch games, it's not. The teams are very well matched in those areas, so it's generally mentality that separates the good from the great. So you talk about belief, you talk about the conversations around, do you believe you can? Because that's a big factor of it. Someone like Saracens don't need to believe, because they know they can. They know they're capable, and that's like an inherent quality that you can only amass through playing in these kind of games. You know, big games where you can trust in your systems and the personnel around you. It's invaluable, Dan. Fortunately, we've been in a lot of finals over the last 3 years. I hesitate to guess, and John, you can look at this, seeing as you're big on your stats. Like, I think we've probably been in more finals than any other Prem team. If you're talking European quarters, semi-finals and finals, like, we've been there or thereabouts every year in one of the other competitions. So we're amassing that experience ourselves. And certainly this group that I'm coaching now believe they're capable. Not believe, they know they're capable in getting there last year and pushing Sarries as close as they did.
And I know we asked you about Tom on Sunday, but you mentioned he was doing some stuff in the dojo. What's his role been over the last few months? I know when George had his bad injury, he almost became a assistant coach in some respects. Has Tom made a sort of similar journey in any respects? Obviously different characters, as you know. You know, Tom leads very much from the front.
Fordy more of a strategist. Fordy wants to watch all the footage, be in all the conversations. Tom, although he does watch footage, doesn't want to be in the conversation, doesn't enjoy the detail that's required to sit in some of those kind of wider game driving, game management discussion meetings. So that's them. What's his involvement been? Increasingly influential as he's got closer to being fit. Right from the Six Nations break, there was a pivotal shift in his influence on the squad, keeping players accountable, and him stepping up as a leader again. Not that he took himself back, but just the nature of his injury didn't feel like he could contribute. He's now talking in team meetings, running player meetings which are self-driven, and he's a nominated player leader from that group. They've nominated 5 and he's one of them. So I'm very happy to say that he's more vocal, he's more involved, and he's taken a lead of which he can do very well. He commands respect because they know he wouldn't ask anything of each of his mates that he wouldn't do himself. And again, that's more around the areas which he's best at, Dan, like the contact areas, the breakdown, the intent and the mentality that's needed for that. He's driving that really well at the moment.
Great. Thanks very much for your time.
Yeah, no worries, Dan, from the Telegraph.
Hi Alex, just a quick one on Sunday's game. Are there any tricks you employ, or are these guys too professional when you're playing a team who's shipped 80 the week before? In terms of when John was mentioning complacency, are there any tricks you use, or are these guys above all that now? They're pro athletes?
No, not we're human, aren't we? You get a couple of good wins under your belt and you can start to believe or start to think that your shit don't stink, and it's just truly not the case. We've probably been harder, I'd say. It's not a trick, but we've been more intentional with areas which we can get better at from Sunday's game. And clearly there was a few, to let them back in and get a bonus point when we should have closed the game out. The discipline that allowed them to do that wasn't at the level that we expect from ourselves, and that was quite I wouldn't say negative, but a very real and honest review that we had yesterday, as well as some of the middle of the pitch game management where our kick execution can be better, and that's the one area that you've seen Dimes have an influence coming back in. They've gone to a more kick compete team. So after a little bit of back patting in terms of how dangerous we looked, as I said to John, the rest of it was around improvements and fault correction. 2/3 of that meeting in around how we can be better this week.
All right, thanks, mate.
Cheers.
Hi, Alex. Just one from me. How important is this game in terms of the power of Northern rugby? Yourselves, Sam made quite a big thing about being Northern. Newcastle have their hashtag True North. Just for Northern Rugby Union, how important is this game?
Yeah, I feel like at times we're fighting a tide. Popularity, what fashionable teams who are out there, and that has something to do potentially with the style of rugby that we've played in the past. Even the support base that we have, limited support base because we're in a football town, and we're trying to change the perception of Northern rugby as well as we can do it in the Northwest and they are in the Northeast, to be a brand of rugby that people want to watch, to be a team that people want to get behind. And we're showing that with crowd numbers now, but really it comes down to results, doesn't it? Like, people want to support winning teams. And I saw that through my tenure at Saracens. Like, even at the start, they were getting 3,000 or 4,000, and it's only after you win a cup or two that all of a sudden you're getting sellouts. So we're getting there, and I think you'll see it from. I think you'll see the reaction from them. I think you'll see how proud a team they are at the weekend, and how we're talking and training. I'm sure you'll see a team that's hell bent on getting to the levels that we achieved last year. It's easy getting a ring with Mike Tyson once, can't you? Anyone can, for £1 million or whatever. It's getting up and doing it again, getting yourself knocked out again, or at least walking onto a few. And that's where we find ourselves at as a team. just because we got there last year doesn't mean automatically this year. Like we've got to be able to back up. We've got to have consistency in our preparation and by de facto performance to warrant a Northern team being not just a flash in the pan, but a powerhouse moving forward. That's the aim. Like, and I said that to Simon 3 years ago. Now I'm coming to my 96th coaching appearance for the team. It's like we were trying to build something that lasts here. And if you do that, then you'll get a hardcore following. We'll continue to get sell-out crowds, and we'll be staking a claim and hopefully being a bit more fashionable with the neutral fans and the wider masses.
And is George Ford particularly important to drilling home that sense of Northern rugby? He's a proud Oldham lad. Yourself, you're from the North as well. Is that something that you and him kind of take pride in, and driving the fact that you're from the North and you're representing the area?
I would say definitely. Like, I can only speak from myself, and the coming back home, I didn't think it would be as big a motivating factor as what it has been. It's something I have to actually take myself away from, because then when you're playing for a region and you realise your influence could affect a kid picking up a ball and playing the game, it almost becomes too much. And you've got to focus on the game at the weekend. But certainly on the days when it's raining, which it is every other day, and some of those harder days that in the past I found difficult to motivate yourself with the right energy to come in, it makes it an easier task. It's not just me and George, like the vast majority of the squad are homegrown with that kind of South African steel that I've alluded to in the past, and the odd rare bit of talent to add to the gene pool. We're looking to retain, to recruit from within, retain players who have been here and been through our system. And I think that is starkly reflected in our recruitment and retention policy from all the lads that are coming out in the wash. They're all keen to be part of this moving forward. And that's how you get championship winning teams, by the way. And like I said, cohesion's king. Like, all the stats point to that.
Yeah, brilliant. That's it for me. Best of luck this weekend.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it. Hiya, Brendan. How are you?
Me, Graham. Can't complain too much. Like, what about yourself?
Good. Yeah, no, I'm well. I feel relatively fresh for the second day in. Like, normally, I tell you what, I felt hungover, and then not because of the wine I drank on Sunday, and because it wasn't that much. It's almost the relief and the release of knowing you've got over another hurdle with a good performance, and then you've got to turn around and back up. You've got to go, right, like, Tuesday's here, like, we've got to go again. So I am, in answer to your question, I'm in full verbal diarrhea mode. At this point in the week, the challenge we have ahead, I feel pretty good. I feel pretty buoyant and energetic, which is a good sign. Because if I'm feeling it, the lads are as well. Like, definitely, I can use myself as a barometer for how they feel.
Yeah, and obviously you mentioned there about the hurdle. Like, I'd say another hurdle would be getting the kind of monkey off your back of winning away from home, because you've not done it since mid-November. Do you see this as a perfect opportunity? Because obviously with the playoffs, you might be looking at an away semi-final. So would you want that kind of monkey off your back going into that?
Definitely. I wasn't aware there was a monkey in my back. I am now. Thank you for that, Brendan. Yeah. Look, it's not the monkey, is it? It's the stakes dictate it. Like this week, like we're not carrying that as we've not mentioned it, not talked about it. Like I said, I hadn't realised it. November's a long time, wasn't it? Long time ago to get that kind of away win. Didn't perform well against Gloucester, and we had that bad spell from Christmas through, didn't we? So, if we're gonna get that monkey off the back, what a time to do it. What a pivotal time in the season.
Yeah, exactly. And as you say, like, in terms of targeting just win after win, getting that kind of momentum going. Because again, you look at teams like yourselves, you're now finding form. You mentioned previously you're looking for like kind of a late run. Has this kind of been planned, or?
Oh, this is all part of the master plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, the jeopardy, it brings the crowd in. It was actually planned, yeah. Like, there's a selection policy up on the wall that's been there since pre-season. You know, looking at the breakdown of the season, we decided to go hard with our best team early on, and that got us the results at the start. We knew we had to share the load over Champions Cup, because you can't go, I think it was 19 or 20 games with the pre-season games through with the same team, because our bodies would break, and that's what did. It broke us through injuries. So I maybe got it wrong a little bit and going as hard as we did for as long as we did at the start. But we knew we had that Six Nations as a chance to rebuild and refresh, which we did. 9 players come back, and then we wanted to finish strong, which we are doing at the moment. You know, there's still those games, and that's exactly how I, start fast, share the load, refresh, rebuild, finish strong. That was the plan at the start of the season. So if it does come to fruition, you can herald me as a master genius of rugby tactics and strategy.
Yeah, exactly. And look, as I say, I was sorry that was happening, and hope everything else as well outside of the rugby itself with you. So I'll pass it on to you.
All right.
Next.
Oh God, I bored you off enough there. Cheers, Brennan.
No.
No, that's very nice. Seriously, do not herald me as a rugby genius. Please don't do that. I'm far from that.